Tarumbeta italia katika anga.
Like this. That is how the trumpet will sound.
Alafu nikapata you are registered. Niko like I need to get myself because niliona lazima you have to file by 20th of every month.
VAT and TOT, yes.
So how do you deregister yourself? I'm still expected to do all my expenses, and after I do all my expenses, I give 30%.
Yes, but now that 30% will less the 13% that you had been taxed in the other regime.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can still...
So long as you are able to obtain the fine print of the DTA as your supporting evidence.
$1 billion stolen. $1 billion of taxpayers
money.
So mtu kwa akili yake anafikiria nitoe,
nilipe,
alafu
ikulwe.
How can KRA work towards ensuring that the message that is going to the people inaonyesha sisi yetu ni kuchukua. Hata kama tunachukua inaibiwa huko, kuna mali tunapeleka. How did we ensure that the taxes that he was evading at that time were paid? Because we're in hundreds of millions. And how do we ensure that our money that is taken out, that is actually the tax is paid for, hata kama iliibiwa?
Eko nene. Episode 622. Tukisema like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend, sindio?
Yep.
Na kama upendi numbers jo 621 na 622 nashindwa ni gani hizi? Because bado tunabonga juu ushuru. Na this time tuko na Fiona Witaba. So nafaa kwanza na hii CPA Fiona Witaba. Ama niseme tu Fiona Witaba.
Ukiongeza CPA haina shida.
Okay, so Fiona Witaba ni a seasoned public accountant, yuko na CPAK, na pia ni a tax consultant based hapa Nai. And it's a consultancy firm, yes?
Yes.
So this consultancy firm, it's all about taxes, or it's all about only finance in general?
It's all about accounting.
Okay.
And you can't talk about taxes without talking about accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So tuko na Fiona na tunataka kubonga juu ya taxes bado. Tunachiki jana tulikuwa na Patience, leo tuko na Fiona. Why? Because ushuru ni important sana, and apart from important, ushuru kuremindigi every day that your political choices have consequences. So jiulize swali moja, uko na e-teams bado? Okay, kama hauna acha tubonge juu hii story saa. So Fiona, wapenda sana kubonga juu ya financial clarity, yes? So what's financial clarity according to you?
Financial clarity or financial literacy is understanding the consequences of your choices financially. Or understanding that when you make a decision, kuna calculations zenye unafaa kupiga before you say, I've decided to do this or that.
Okay.
So you can't just be uninformed making decisions all over the place. So you need what? Financial literacy, especially when it comes to your money, whether it's investment, savings, running a business, taxes. That's what it is to me.
Okay. And pia I think kuna terms tuko tunabonga before we started the conversation. Kuna kuwaga na tax avoidance na tax evasion. I've heard people say that tax avoidance is illegal, tax evasion is illegal. What's the difference between the two? And is there a difference between the two? That is...
There is a difference. So tax evasion, that's the one that is illegal.
Okay.
That is when you on purpose refuse to pay your taxes. So taxes are due on you, kama ni biashara or whichever the case, but you refuse to pay, or you put measures in place so that you do not pay. That's tax evasion, and it's illegal. And when proven, you can even be served jail time, other than penalties and interest and all that. And then there is tax avoidance. So tax avoidance is legal, but I normally say it's legal-ish because there's a thin line. It's legal because you look into the law and you look at opportunities or loopholes that enable you to position yourself in a way that reduces your taxes or eliminates in some cases, but it's normally frowned upon, especially in the accounting world and in the taxation world, because inaangaliwa zile za unajaribu kwa mjanja ndio usilipe taxes wakati wengine wanalipa. So pia hiyo kukua mjanja needs to follow a certain order.
Okay.
Not everything goes. Yeah.
Because ukisema hivyo inaniremind one of the things ile nikiwachigi YouTube especially stuff about America kuna kuwaga na vile that this is why the rich don't pay taxes. Then unaonyesha sijui amefunguaga foundation, hii foundation inafanya nini, sijui amefungua trust, amefungua hizo zote ni tax avoidance.
Hizo zote ni tax avoidance because those are loopholes.
Yeah. And Kenya, do you have such? Like,
yes.
Can I start a trust?
Yes, you can. Actually, lately, so many people, when you want to build wealth, especially this first generation wealth, are setting up trusts. It's a thing that has been catching fire. If you speak to any advocate, atakwambia, set up trust mingi sana lately compared to kitambo because of freedom of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because robo ni watu wa tunaitonga first generation.
Yes.
Nilicheki meme fulani online ati don't be the generational curse that your descendants will be fighting. Inajaiva.
Yeah, but also more on that line. So how can I minimize my tax liability, in Kenya? How can somebody do that? Because there's some people are paying a lot of taxes also. Yeah. So how can, and especially now even with the new tax laws, with the e-teams na vitu kama hizo, how can somebody wade around and minimize their tax liability?
There are various opportunities. It depends on where you're coming from. So are you coming from the point where you're a businessman? Are you an investor? Is your wealth coming from beyond Kenya, or your income, is it from within Kenya? So depending on, first of all, where you're coming from, then we go into that maze. So where are you're asking from which standpoint?
I'm just asking as let's say nowadays most of the young people are making the money from, TikTok, content creation and all that. So most of their fun money is coming from outside our borders, So how can somebody be able to maneuver around that? Talking about also issues around, if you think about tax avoidance or tax evasion, because I think most of them will try and avoid rather than evade. But remember, avoidance seems to be, by going by explanation, seems to be more of a moral thing. Yeah. So how does somebody maneuver around that? How can you minimize your liability?
Someone who's earning from abroad. So this person probably, maybe most of them, the ones I've interacted with, ambao wengi, they're either the later millennials and the Gen Zs are earning from abroad. So this person can get their expenses documented, because no matter what business you're doing, you're incurring an expense.
Yes.
So there's the aspects of maybe the subscriptions you're paying, the equipment you're purchasing, like maybe if you're doing videography, if it's TikTok or YouTube, you have equipment, it's expensive. If you can document all that, get validated receipts via e-teams. If you are purchasing any assets, then there's wear and tear allowances, so long as the assets are related to the business. If you even construct a building, there's all these avenues. Like for a building, you can get 50% of the value of that building offset as an expense in the first year. Is already in millions. That can already save you a lot of several years worth of taxes. But then, did you have the necessary documentation and supporting papers to prove this? So unapatanga watu wengi wanaanza kitu, hawajui hata itakuwa successful. Then at some point inakuwa successful, and now they are earning a lot of money. Their bank account has so many deposits. This is a point mtu ana realize, I missed so many opportunities when I was structuring and setting up. Yeah.
Cause sasa hauko na document.
Hauko na document, haukuwa unaeka the correct names under these things, hauko unalipa through the correct channels. Juu kama ni business, you should have a business account where you handle all your expenses, purchases, payments, receipts. But wewe ulikuwa unalipa na M-Pesa, madhe analipa hiyo ingine, unatoa kwa savings fund ya mtoto unalipa. So you didn't structure correctly. At the end unapata you are overpaying in taxes because there's a web behind you that even you yourself cannot explain.
Because inani remind normally banks zimeanza hii story ya before umove do from one account to another, they ask you things like why are you moving this, then lazima uandike, is it an expense, is it goods and services, is it religious activities, is it what. So how important is that, and does that help anything, ama that's just kuznaonaga hiyo page na kuna time unashindagwa hapa sasa niandike ni tax, niandike ni charge, kuznapata una move like maybe una need kupay mtu, si ndio? And you're paying direct to the account. It's going to ask you, like some apps ask you like, why are you moving this money? Is that important, and does that help?
Extremely, especially in business. Everyone is not an accountant. So that particular allowance in the mobile banking app, where you're able to define what is this transaction for a business person, that can be your lifeline.
Okay.
Because after some time unapata kuna businesses that transact even 1 million in a day. It's very possible.
Yes.
So umelipa huyu 100k, 250 bob. So at the end of the day, you don't even, and that's at the end of just that day, you don't know what you've paid the whole day. So if you have that allowance where you're able to define, and Equity Bank has structured it so well. They've not paid me to. It's just that Equity Bank statement is structured so well because it's so clear and simplified. You're able to define, and there are no codes even in the description. I think other banks should copy that, but you're able to define it so well, and you can even say this is rent January 2026. You can say this is salary to Amai. You can say this is purchase of cameras. So it's simplified, because at the end of the month when you get your statement, especially for the business person, then you're able to even create your records from your bank statement.
Okay. Alafu nini, some of the vilumebonga juu watu, people not planning, like what are some of the mistakes that people make zile KRA ni zachukua kama tax evasion? Understand, and I'm putting mistakes in quotes.
Just ask your question again.
Like so unajua vilikuwa nasema watu wa planigi, so someone will start a business, then the business ends up being more successful than expected.
Okay.
But then they've not kept their records and what sindio. But what are also some of the other common mistakes zile msani za make? It's an innocent mistake, but it ends up looking like it's tax evasion.
The lowest hanging one is commingling. Commingling ni when you mix your personal funds and your business funds. Kama unalipanga via M-Pesa, that's the same M-Pesa you do your Carrefour shopping, you pay your gym membership, you buy your mother I don't know what, and then it's the same one you're also paying the rent for the business, the salaries. So that commingling creates a situation whereby it's hard to identify this is business, this is personal. But when you separate your accounts, you've solved that one. The other one is filing nil. Na ndio maana hii pandemic naita pandemic, because pandemic ya kufile nil returns ilifika point hadi now KRA had to put their feet down.
Yes.
So filing nil returns can also, it can be innocent, but you're filing nil, but there's 2 million per month in your account. So that brings question marks. So that's also an innocent one that can land you into problems.
So nasema 2 million iko na 6 nils.
Ati 2 nil. Also more on that issue of filing nil, because as I understand KRA right now, they're expanding the tax bracket and all
tax
that.
Base. Yes.
So collect. And now kuna issue ya e-teams now, and we'll get deep into that. But so I'm thinking about mtu wa kawaida. Kuna ule mama mboga. Kuna mama mboga, kuna kama wama 3, kuna uti mechanic. They want also to target those people. And those people ni watu kama sahi gari nimetoa garage. So ule jamaa nimemtumia M-Pesa. Na KRA, they say the goals are going to follow up on M-Pesa statements and all that, just to ensure that somebody... So how will they go through about that? Ule jamaa ataambiaje, huyu ni mwafa na nilipa deni yangu, huyu ni mwas, ilikuwa ni pesa nimemtengenezea gari. How are they going to go and analyze somebody's M-Pesa statement and determine what came from where?
Iyo swali ni swala nyeti, but to answer it, your M-Pesa statement, currently, kwanza, let's just start from the top. Your M-Pesa statement, your bank statement, that is private financial data.
Yes.
So KRA does not have a right to take it and tell you tuambie hizi ni nini unless wendo umewapea. So even to cut the long story short of, they are taxing our bank deposits, now they can see our bank deposits. No, not yet. Unless there's a court order or unless you are under audit or investigation, that is when they can access your bank statement. And most of the times you find that you are the one who gives them or your M-Pesa statement that has business transactions. But now turudi kwa Onyiwa mechanic na Susan Mamamboga. You see the way when something is rolled out, it takes years to catch up. The only negative part is that when they rolled out digitization of taxes, walianza na iTax, people used to go to Times Towers to file their returns. Na kulikuanga na line refu. You are one of them. Okay, your age is screaming. But
it's only that I own so many businesses.
Okay.
And those businesses are actually, they were none of my business.
Good one.
No, I used to see the queues.
Yeah. Okay, so mostly wazazi wetu wamezi experience. Then they created iTax that enables you now to file returns from the comfort of your home online, and it was good and it solved the problem. Then now they brought on eTIMS 2024 ikianza, and eTIMS was supposed to be a digital invoicing platform. Na ndo imeanza kuleta kina Mama Mboga na kina Onyi na whoever, those boda guys, into the limelight. Because now everyone in Kenya is supposed to pay their fair share of taxes, but kuna huyu mtu halipi hata kama ni kidogo yenye inalingana na mapato yake. So now what do we do? The only disadvantage which I feel they did is that they rolled it out too fast. People were not ready. They didn't take the normal turnaround time that will be taken for such a big initiative. And when I found myself in the presence of KRA officials, I have expressed that this thing may have happened too fast. So Onyi atajua ajui ana ata smartphone. Yes, they waka create *222# for the USSD. Now Onyi can create his eTIMS receipt on his phone, but ajui ata the impact of now that I've created this eTIMS receipt inamaanisha nini. So KRA is creating reconciliation problems for itself, because how many Kenyans do we have? What's the population right now? It's millions. Will you go through millions? No one will do that. Even the kama eTIMS yenyewe, it's already hanging right now because more and more people are using it. We're having a lot of downtimes. So what happens if you decide you will digitally assess everyone's statement? Millions of transactions per person per day. It's going to be a reconciliation web. So I feel there was a better way to do it. These people have been excluded from understanding a system that has demanded they use it. It's a challenge, which is why people like me are creating content to try and sensitize and teach these people so that there is less loss.
Okay. Alafu, for like a business that's starting out, what would you say are the most important pillars of legal tax minimization? Like, because at the end of the day, we are all, even Elon Musk is trying to pay as little tax as possible. Because you don't know what tomorrow holds. So you want to make sure hujapatiana pesa yako yote kwa tax. So like, if you're thinking of that, if you're starting a business today, because it's a very different environment to start a business compared to maybe even last year.
The most important pillars when you're setting up is to get your documentation right. And when I say that, I mean, first of all, you're structuring this company or this business under a certain form of registration. So either you register a business name, or you register a limited company or a group structure, something that can separate it from yourself. Or give it an identity, so that now you can peg transactions and whatever under that name. That's the first low-hanging one. The second one is to have supporting documents. Unalipa rent, sawa, iko wapi proof? Unapanda matatu, sawa, iko wapi proof? Lipa basi na M-Pesa, let that be trackable in your M-Pesa statement. Have fair logs where you record this day I went from here to here, I paid. It's extra admin work, but it's basic.
Yes.
Uko na watu wa mkono, good. Have them sign and include their details when you're paying them. Have some sort of records and pay them through a means that can be trailed. Don't pay them physical cash. If you're paying them physical cash, let their signatures be there as acceptance that I was paid. Those are the low-hanging ones that if you can track all your expenses with supporting documents from the first day as you're registering that company, then you're setting yourself up for success. Yeah.
Okay. Because Nini, history setting up like something different. These are, I don't want to ask this. So kuna watu kama sisi, wale tuko YouTube, yes? And YouTube pays you as an individual. You can turn that into a company, but the hoops and the whatever you have to, like changing like the payment account from an individual to a company in hell. It can, like, najua hii leta just how accepting mara ya kwanza that now it's you as an individual pia inakuwaga lazima sijui ende upik sijui wapi you show it's a very long process, so a lot of people end up acting as individuals, but even as an individual you're working with other people. So according to you, you should still try and just make it a company, ama? What do you think?
See, must equate a company. It can be a business name. Just give it an identity. You know, a business name is still linked to your PIN.
Yeah.
So it can still be a business name. So the business name is linked to your name, which is linked to your PIN, so you can operate under your actual name.
Yeah.
So that's fine. The only problem is when it's completely unregistered. Because that's even illegal. It's illegal to operate an unregistered business in Kenya. And you never know how fast you can grow. Today you thought you'd just earn 500 bob a month from whatever YouTube, but suddenly maybe it's 5 million a month. So what happens after that? Where is your trail? Who are you and where are you?
Okay.
Yeah.
But sasa si kuna mtu mmoja ile anishona ameandika kitu ilikuwa like content creators wanakuwaga employees wa. So content creators ni either employee wa YouTube indirectly ama ni employee wa Facebook. Why? Because they can fire you. You can wake up today and they tell you you're no longer using our platform. Sindio? And that's like true. They fired you. So sinamaanisha hii do nalipo kama in quotes individual. Yes? So nikishalipo kama individual, see now that's when I need to now come and what is it called? Balance out, pay taxes hapa, nikate expenses zangu. Do you still feel like it's good to separate the individual still, like have an extra layer? So yes, the individual is paid, but now the individual maybe pays the company and then the company pays everyone else.
Kichukua your analogy of YouTube, when YouTube, first of all, you can't call yourself an employee of YouTube because YouTube is paying you, but you are also paying YouTube. Yeah, in fees or whichever deductions they make.
Yeah.
So, mtu employee alipangi employer wake. So that's a whole different setup. What you're operating as is you're operating as a sole proprietor, an individual-based business. So, wewe kama individual hapo YouTube, maybe you've hired a videographer, maybe you've hired an editor. Those are your employees under your YouTube work. So already you are taking on a business setup. Not an employee setup. Employee has no employees. Yeah, so you are a business. So what's the name of your business? Is your business Fiona Witaba?
Yes.
Okay. Fiona Witaba is the name of the business. Have you registered Fiona Witaba? Those are the core, the beginner questions that whoever audits will ask. If you haven't, okay, can you then show us the transactions of Fiona Witaba's business?
Okay.
So now you need proof for how you paid the editor and you bought them uniforms. Okay, where is the receipt? So you see, you can't remove your mind from the fact that this is a business in as much as you're doing it as a hobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alafu kuna hii nini aspect ya turnover tax, it's a very interesting one because we were talking about that with patients, yes? But that could dive in kabisa. So limits za turnover tax ni ngapi so far? Because I hear a figure like 5 million, then at some point I hear another figure like 25 million. What's the difference like was to break it down. At what point is 5 million and at what point it's 25 million?
Turnover tax, it's a tax that was created for the small taxpayer
Yes.
who is earning between $1 million and 25 million in a year. 5 million.
Small taxpayer, 25 million.
25 million ni small taxpayer. Watu wako na pesa.
Zino na chiki, damn, man. Yeah.
So
hiyo ungesema in hash tones.
ndio to degrade.
Yeah.
So 1 to 25, those are the threshold. 5 million who let a confusion because of VAT.
Yeah.
Because now for VAT, that's where when you reach the 5 million threshold of your turnover annually, you're supposed to register for VAT. Actually, the law says 30 days before you reach that threshold, you're supposed to begin and register for VAT as an obligation.
Okay.
So VAT and TOT, they operate separately. It's like pay as you earn and income tax. They're not related. Those lines are parallel. You can be under TOT and you're under VAT at the same time. It's not double taxation. They are different taxes.
Okay. So this I'll look at it. Hatutataja but najua I know YouTubers out here wale niko sure niza kuwa nafikisha hiyo 25M in a year. Yes. So if they want TOT because they're individuals, because I also heard as an individual you can be on TOT.
Yes.
So au wakitaka hivo na ni mtu ana make 25M hii VAT itawakaje? Nakumbuka yeye ni YouTuber. So hii TOT itawakaje?
TOT ama VAT?
VAT itawakaje?
Okay.
Because remember now where does the VAT come in for an individual? That's what I'm trying to understand. Pole najua tunakuuliza maswali zingine shina mafala nyiti.
Akonanga swali wrong by the way. Sasa VAT comes in for a YouTuber or a content creator like this. The moment you have reached the 5 million mark, already just know you're supposed to be vatable. There are things called vatable supplies. There are those that are exempt and there are those that are zero rated. So vatable supplies is when you are selling something where you've added value on it. When you create content, that is value. It's value already. So that's a vatable supply. For institutions like schools, when schools earn school fees, that is not vatable. It's exempt because it's an institution that offers education. Education is an exempt supply. So it depends on the category that you fall in. So now for YouTubers, let's say you are, when you're invoicing YouTube, or rather, you don't invoice YouTube, but they pay you.
Yeah.
Do you have VAT in your calculation for whatever YouTube pays you?
I don't
Have
know.
you ever seen
Kile
your
najuaga ni US taxes utolewa.
Okay.
So like whatever you see, you're going to earn, and what you earn is always kuna kuwaga na difference ya like
Kuna
13%.
difference.
So 13% I assume hiyo ni pesa ya Trump.
Yeah,
So after
US.
Trump sasa ndio tunakuja sasa kwa kwetu sasa.
And that's because YouTube is registered in another jurisdiction. So the taxes of that jurisdiction are what is happening. So for you, you'd earn based on that tax that you're paying on that payment structure with YouTube. So if you have passed the 5 million mark and now you're invoicing someone, now let's say someone has paid for ads, you do get ad endorsements, right? From local, rarely.
It happens,
okay, but so if that is the case, then you'd add 16%. So if you're paying you're charging them $1 million, then the bill that they'd actually pay you will be 1,160,000. And then you take the 160,000 and file that monthly VAT uilipe si yako.
Okay. Na sasa tuseme kama hakuna ad ni hii tu revenue peke yake ya YouTube, how does the VAT come in?
You still have to declare 16% on what you have earned. Because based on the jurisdiction you are in, the revenue that you generate is considered taxable within the borders of this country where you're a resident.
Okay. So try to understand ni let's say msame tengeneza tuko na 2 million in 1 month, let's say. And mbeleni ile time alikuwa natengeneza cause up to 5 million that would have been maybe 400,000. Ile time alikuwa 400,000 alikuwa nalipa TOT ni is it 1.5 ama it's 1?
1.5.
So alikuwa nalipa 6k. Yes. But now he's earned an extra 1.6. out of this 1.6, what is he supposed to do? Are we looking at 16% of the whole thing? Are we looking at 1% up to maybe 400k and then 16% for the rest of 1.6? That's what I'm trying to understand.
16% is normally on the gross.
Yeah.
You ever seen someone give you a receipt and say this is VAT exclusive or this is VAT inclusive? So 16% is on the gross.
Okay.
So you pay kama ni 2M, 16% ya hiyo 2M.
You're 320.
You're 320.
So it means
inafaa kwa
that
VAT.
for anyone who thinks they're going to scale up and reach 25 million, then TOT becomes not reasonable, not financially in any, because especially if you have expenses. Because hiyo 320 ni kama salary ya mtu jo. Hiyo ni expense kubwa sana. Hiyo ni afadhali basi you just stick to the normal, document everything, then what do you think?
TOT serves you when, first of all, it's not just one qualifier, not just the 1 to 25 million that qualifies you for TOT. There's other factors. Like 1, it cannot be rental income. 2, it cannot have withholding taxes anywhere on your schedule. 3, it cannot be from management, professional, or training services. So maybe you make money on YouTube because you train people on how to use AI. You cannot qualify for TOT if that is how you generate your income. Maybe you offer, and most people on YouTube train. A lot of people are teaching something. So if you're doing,
so
if
content
that is
yako pia na nini?
pia the concept of your content matters.
Okay, so Robo, ile channel yako ya teaching men how to twerk
I'll be teaching.
haiwezi qualify. Niko nafikiri ati just
qualify.
all YouTube channels are created equal. No.
There's requirements or pre-qualifiers, not just the 1 to 25. And actually, ukioperate under TOT, when you're signing up for the TOT, you're supposed to specify what you do. You're supposed to say which industry you are in your application. Yeah.
Because kitu fani ni tukiona patients hapa nili make mistake and I need to get myself up that. Alikuwa natuonyesha how to do it. So mishafanya hapo star, blah, 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 year 2, whatever. Alafu nikapata you are registered, like I need to get myself because niliona lazima you have to file by 20th of every month
VAT and TOT, yes.
So how do you deregister yourself from that? Because of course nilikuwa na register as a small business but of course hatujafika hizo figures za ajabu but still siwezi taka kuwapo because of the fact that you have to file every 20th and pia one day when we scale up siwezi taka ati 16% inaenda hivyo before, because the more you scale up the more expenses zitakuwa mingi. So is there a way to deregister?
There is a way to deregister, but you can't deregister for VAT unless umeshuka below 5M.
Azi nakwambia nilikuwa na test out jana tukiwa na
so you're
patients
registered
hapa.
for VAT?
Registered for TOT.
TOT, okay. We are talking about TOT now.
Yes, so how do I deregister myself?
You can deregister by writing a letter to KRA, call center at kra.go.ke. You can physically go and see your tax manager and they could assist you in deregistering. They used to also do it online on iTax, but they have changed the processes.
So hii tu kimchezo vile nilifanya using your star blah blah blah. Now they expect me to file
by 20th. Yeah.
Damn, I need to ilikuwa kimchezo, ilikuwa tu jinga tu hapa because I didn't think it was that simple. You know, she was telling us this thing is so simple. So many go like that. Niko like, "Pap, you've successful." I know. So I need to try.
I wasn't serious.
Yeah, on the same line with Mof, what about athletes? You know, because there was a debate at some point. They wanted to tax athletes for their winnings abroad. So you work out in Kenya, probably at Nyayo or Iten or anywhere. You work out and then you go and race abroad, probably a marathon or something. And then you make like 6 million Kenya shillings. There, you are taxed there, probably in Rotterdam or New York. And then you come back here and they want to tax you again on the amount that you won and you already been taxed there. So how do they balance that?
Most countries have double taxation agreements whereby Kenya and another country or a group of countries create policies where they agree that if any of our citizens is in any of our countries, let them not pay tax twice on the same income. So whatever taxes you'll pay here will depend on how much you paid there. So if you overpaid, you won't pay any here. If you paid less compared to what you'd have paid here, if that money was earned from here, then you only pay the difference. That's stipulated in the double taxation agreement that protects citizens from paying taxes twice on the same income.
Lakini hiyo double taxation hiza jomi nashinda tu nikikurudisha back to YouTube because hapa I feel kwa watu wa YouTube tunalipaga double taxation because as I told you by time do inakufikiaga inakuwa at least 13% is gone. And after this 13% is gone bado unasikia gava inataka at least another 30% after you file everything.
DTA applies. It applies. The double taxation agreement will apply.
How?
The one that is active between which country, if it's US and Kenya.
Because do inakujaga inatoka from Ireland. So let's assume it's Ireland.
Ireland,
yes? So wakishachukua 13% from the gross. I'm still expected to do all my expenses, and after I do all my expenses, I give 30%.
Yes, but now that 30% will less the 13% that you had been taxed in the other regime.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can still...
So long as you are able to obtain the fine print of the DTA as your supporting evidence.
Oh, the DTA, you need
and
double
you see
taxation.
When you, the double taxation agreement. And when you pay those taxes based on the US structure, you're the 13%. Do they give you which form do they give you? Is it the W or the W2
form, lakini kabla,
employment?
before you start Nini, before anze kulipwa, you have to upload your tax documents so to show that you're a Kenyan taxpayer.
Yes.
So automatically unaonaga any money that you get ni less 13%. For people who already have a paycheck hapa Kenya, kuna waluniambiaga yao inakuaga less 30%. Inakuaga tayari ishakatwa. So I guess au ni... But sasa, sisi unaonaga 13%. So let's work with simple numbers, yes? So that we see.
Okay.
Let's say someone is earning 1 million shillings. Yeah, million imekuja kama 870 in 1 month.
In a month.
Imekuja kama 870,000. Yes?
Okay.
We are using simple numbers ndio tuweza kuifanya haraka, si ndio? Then out of 870, this person ends up having expenses that 370. So we have this 500K.
Profit.
So yeah, so 500K, akipatiana 30% of it would be amepatiana 150. Sindio? 150K. But kumbuka tayari alikuwa shalipa 130K inje before ido ikuje. So is he supposed to still pay the 150K ama you 130K to play a role in anything?
So dependent on the terms ndani ya double taxation agreement ya US na Kenya yenye ina exist.
Ama Kenya na Ireland.
Ama Kenya na Ireland.
Yes.
Ama Kenya na Germany. Ama Kenya na Spain. Itakuwa sasa the 150K minus the 130K and then now they pay 20K.
Damn, that's nini. Then sahi tunafaa kujua. That's why tunasikizaga hizi vitu. Tunafaa kunini. I think we need to...
some details, sorry to interrupt you, are a bit more complex. So you have to obtain the fine print, but that is the general concept.
Yeah, kuzinakuaga hivyo. Because I remember thinking like, damn, tayari 13% is gone. And then you're telling me you need 30% after my expenses. I feel like
You're
punishment, man. That's
but then still on the line of punishment. Don't you think that KRA, I know they've not paid me to say this, but don't you think KRA are using the thuggish approach, when it comes to enacting the new tax laws? Because if you look at the current ones, they're going to, they are supposed to be implemented from this year, but they are taking it backdating it to last year, January last year, 2020, if I'm correct.
Yes.
But still, they're still backdating it altogether. But, I mean, there's things that we did last year that we are using the laws that were there the previous year. So including not filing, not getting the online receipts and all that.
Receipts,
yeah, so most of us are going to be punished because of the sins we committed last year with a law that was not active last year.
Niweke disclaimer.
Yes.
So Robo wako na sisi kwa 621 cause Nani to explain hiyo patience.
Yeah.
So what Patience was saying is hii laws zimekuwa wameanza kuipush 2024. Even she mentioned that. So sisi ndio tuliignore. but history ya e-teams walianza 2024 insisting
January
on it
2024.
yes so sisi ndo tukaignore but what she was saying is right now what they're doing is bado unawezajitetea you can justify if you have records you can still justify and get away with it this year but now from next year now this year sasa the reason why they're insisting is because they want Kenyans now to make sure sasa umepata e-teams sasa now it's not negotiable remember like mbeleni ilikuwa 50-50 so they're still giving you a wiggle room ya whatever as long as uko na records to back up everything that you're saying so the record thing where she was saying becomes very important but that was patience's answer so you answer
Completely the same. The notice that came out is what you're referring to, the one that came out in November of 2025, saying that every filing starting from January 2025, which was behind us, is supposed to have an e-teams receipt for sales and purchases, validation of e-teams. Yeah, so it's the truth. So this is what even Patience herself was the one who announced this some few weeks ago. Their carrier is going to create a template for filing for 2025. They have not yet created this template because right now if you go to file your returns, anything that is not on e-teams will be rejected, so your return will not go through. But they say they'll adjust the template for filing and create an allowance whereby you can input non-e-teams purchases and expenses so long as you have the supporting documents to defend them. Supporting documents ni nini? Ni receipts, atakasi e-teams, the handwritten ones, your bank statements, your business M-Pesa statements, transfers, delivery notes to show that this person delivered these goods here, agreements, like if you are paying rent, then have a tenancy agreement to show that I'm supposed to have been paying rent of this amount. So long as you have supporting documents, then for 2025, it will go through after they create that template. But now 2026 onwards, hakutakuwa na hiyo.
That's good. Perfect. But now goes back to another issue. How is this message being, disseminated to the Kamaus, to the Uchiengs, to the Mamambogas, to Shei who's selling mitumba in Gikomba? Because I strongly believe there's a huge chunk of the people who are targeted by the new tax laws who are still going to miss out. And KRA will not be able to arrest everyone. How what hatuwezi pelekwa kotini. There's a huge gap in their communication. Because when it comes to implementation, I think watakupata ukuta kubwa sana. Yeah, and they cannot claim that people are ignorant because we don't see those adverts being run. We don't see those messages being disseminated the best way. Wale watu uko nje wanaweza elewa.
You only see the messages that are threats.
We only see threats. You have been warned, notices.
We have seen, you have transacted.
Exactly. And some of them come via email. And not everyone, especially guys who register for their KRA PIN, most of them don't have, apart from the Gen Z, most of them do not have active emails. Because ukienda kuregister, hauna email address, una register na ile ya cyber cafe. Iko nini at yahoo.com. Unaona hiyo ndio kuregister pale. Once you've registered, that's it. Umeenda na PIN number yako. So hata ukituma email mwafu ndo anasoma. Wewe as the account holder hauisomi. So how are they going to go about this? How you as a consultant, how can you advise KRA to do?
Initially KRA was always targeting companies and corporates.
Yeah.
So there's a way their language is corporate-centric. But lately I've seen them trying to relate to the mwananchi. Like, did you see the letter they wrote ya Valentine's?
I see.
It was in Sheng, and they even had unakumbuka high school vile mlikuwa mnaandikiana dedix hapo chini. They even had a dedix hapo chini. It was like a love letter imeandikwa in Sheng. It was actually mtu wa kawaida inaweza mbamba akisoma. But now they are trying to relate to this mtu wa chini, but in a very hostile environment. Because you see, when the public does not trust the taxman, taxes becomes a dark topic that causes so much resistance. So if I was KRA, what I will do is I'd work on trust. And they did try to work on trust, only that it was not enough because they provided amnesty for 2 years consecutively. Amnesty is where you're forgiven your penalties and your interest if you pay your principal. And that was them trying to build trust with the taxpayer. Tutawasamehea hizi madeni zenyu, just file your returns. Tutakusamehea. That was trying to build trust. But it's still not enough because of that distrust that is deeply rooted in the corruption that exists currently. Because mwananchi atafungwa online aone what billion missing, what billion. So they have their work cut out for them.
True to move.
They're not related.
So I mean, the question that I wanted also to follow on later, but I think it's good to ask it now. Because KRA are failing in one aspect, getting people to trust them. And how can you trust them when you don't know where the money that you are paying goes to? And what you learn from the news is $1 billion stolen. $1 billion of taxpayers' money. So mtu kwa akili yake anafikiria nitoe,
nilipe,
alafu ikulwe. How can KRA work towards ensuring that the message that is going to the people inaonyesha sisi yetu ni kuchukua. Hata kama tunachukua inaibiwa huko, kuna mali tunapeleka. Because at the end of the day, mtu wa kawaida, mwananchi wa kawaida, yatafikiria sisi tukitoa hawa ndo wanapatia wengine wanasquander. Yet their work is only to collect. And mind you, tax collection, najua Mwafrika is against this. When you go biblically, kulikuwa na ule jamaa.
Caesar.
No, Caesar. That tax collector.
Lazarus.
Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus. Yani mpaka president wetu anaitwa Zacchaeus na tumesahau.
Tumechoma.
Hapo sasa clock here.
Atezi clock.
Ndio tikimeishi na General
so kulikuwa mpaka na Zacchaeus, the tax collector. But nobody liked him back then. So KRA throughout history, people don't like tax collectors.
Yeah.
In fact, when you go to other denominations, wapendi hawalipi taxes because of there's that negativity with that. How do they work around that? Considering leo tunatoa, kesho wanaenda, and mind you, sisi as the holy people, unlike Jesus, we cannot invite them. Hatuwezi waambia shukeni kwa pale KRA Towers, wapeleke mandondo.
Zacchaeus alirudishia kila mtu pesa yake to make amends, like to get people to like him. He returned everyone's money. So I don't know, should KRA now say, for 2 years tumewaachia, enjoy?
No, sikuna ile US wagana kitu into tax refunds. Sindio mwafu?
Yeah. We have it in Kenya as well.
In Kenya have it?
We do, but there's problems with obtaining refunds sometimes because it's Treasury that releases the refund, not KRA. Sasa hapo si KRA sana. Treasury ndo ina receiving the prompts from KRA to refund said number of taxpayers, said number of amounts. Then they are the ones to release the funds. So kuna kuangana sometimes a lot of delays even spanning years where they have not released refunds.
Thank you.
I think we're going to say that it's being abused also. So I think that's one of the reasons why.
Because there's a lot of investigation that needs to go into it.
Because Wakenya, so Wakenya kawaida yetu.
True. But mwafu, hapo ndo KRA tena, I think they should consult you sana. Because wanafaa detach from hizo vitu. Because hizo ndo vitu mtu wa kawaida atafikiria. Hata tax refunds pewi. Na nani anipati? KRA. People don't think about the other entities.
The other entities,
exactly. Hata mtu anafajue pesa ikichukuliwa na KRA. Si KRA wanakuja kugawa.
Si KRA, hapo ni treasury.
10 iende huku, 10 ifanye hivyo. And those people should learn, going now to the politics. If people are taxed and people start paying taxes, literally people, kwanzia mama mboga, all the way mpaka the billionaires, if people literally pay taxes, I think watu watajua umuhimu wa why their vote counts. Because utajua ukipiga kura, ule mtu unapigia, namba wana wewe ndo unamlipa mshahara. We actually pay them. Don't forget, huyo mtu unapigia kura anaingia parliament. Yeye kwanza ataingiza gari tax free. Sindio?
Yeah, they have the benefits.
They have the benefits. Na wewe unafanya nini? Unailipia. Yeye atatengeneza nyumba, hata materials kona, vitu mingi they get tax free. But you are the one who's paying for all that. So that pain of paying taxes should reflect by changing your ideology on how you're going to vote. You vote in good leaders, knowing that if you vote in the wrong leader, whatever
it
you are
affects
pouring,
your pocket.
Exactly.
Konene, najua mwaka ni mpya lakini injili ni ile ile lemfi. So kama uko US, uko UK, uko Canada ama uko the UAE na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umechangamka, ingia lemfi, utabaki umepata the most competitive rates. Lakini apart from that, on your first transaction ya $100 or more, utapata $20 sign up reward. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, chap ingia lemfi. Lemfi, international payments for everyone. Konene. So Nini, pia come to story ya DTA because I had to go check stories at DTA. It's interesting. So the United States and Kenya do not have a formal double taxation agreement or treaty in place as of late 2025. However, both countries utilize mechanisms like foreign tax credits to prevent double taxation on income, with Kenya's Income Tax Act offering relief and US citizens blah blah blah. So ilikuwa ni Kenya and the US. Alafu pia kulikuwa na Kenya and Ireland signed a double taxation agreement on July 23rd, 2021, aimed at fostering economic ties, eliminating double taxation on incomes to gains and preventing tax evasion. The treaty, which covers income and capital gains, reduces withholding taxes on dividends, interests and royalties. Sindio? Signed on July 23rd, 2021, but as of Feb 2026, it's not in effect. What I found interesting about that is the fact that as much as unapata like akuna hiyo comprehensive DTA, you can still ukifile, you can still use that. Sindio?
So
you
long
can
as
still
you
be
have,
like,
yes, the proof of that you have been deducted taxes. That's why I was asking you about YouTube. When they deduct the 13%, what do they give you in return?
kitu fani ni mtu onaga tu you just hapo ndio wagametuweza because you see the earnings ile unaexpect, alafu you see the earnings ile imekuja, sa inakujaga ile sheet but ile sheet haikuwagi imeandikwa, but you can actually see the difference. You see this is what I was supposed to get, this is what I'm getting. So I think now what someone would need to ask them, can I get that document that shows
you can request for
these
that.
tax deductions. So nikiwa na hiyo tax deduction after my expenses from my 30%, they still this
after your expenses and 30% has been computed on your profit, then you can deduct the tax credit from the other jurisdiction.
Okay. Because I was wondering, because I remember niko na shida like ikitu, because I've heard that in countries where, like for example, footballers akina Wanyama akicheza when he was playing in England, walikuwa wanachukua 45%. So with him it meant he owed Kenya nothing.
Yeah.
And what about someone like Olunga, where yuko Qatar? So he plays and lives in Qatar. And Qatar takes 0%. Does he still owe Kenya anything?
So hapo umeingisha swali ya tax residency.
Yes.
So like now when it comes to tax residency, this is determined by where your physical presence is.
Yes.
So in Kenya, you're considered a tax resident of Kenya under two circumstances. Number one is that you spend 183 days in a year and more. So if you spend 183 plus one, that's 6 months, plus one, you because of that one day, you are considered a tax resident of Kenya, you have to pay taxes in Kenya.
Okay.
But if you spend 182 days, then you're not a tax resident of Kenya and you should not pay taxes in this jurisdiction. And then the other one is 100 umeshaanza kupa Kenya. The other one is 122 days average over 3 years. So you see, even the 183 is averaged over 3 years to determine your true tax residency.
Really interesting, because now this is just a bullshit question. This is serious. So it means mseka Odemaya angekuwa Kenya anaweza kuwa halipi tax, because Odemaya is, I don't think he stays in any country for half a year.
Sasa hiyo ndio inaitwa loophole.
Damn.
Sasa hiyo ndio inaitwa loophole.
Damn. Because Odemaya hakuwaki any country for 183 days.
True.
That guy is always traveling. So even nani back in the days, this guy Ayamarwa, because Ayamarwa he used to travel a lot. So during those days, because he was never in Kenya for 183 days,
Kenya wouldn't, based on the tax residency clause, Kenya would have nothing against him. So there are those people who always
I
make
need
sure.
to be traveling with you.
But now it depends on the other countries. You see, that's the laws here. That's the laws
so
here.
the other
So maybe
countries-
Wodemaya akirukaruka hivi, hiyo nchi ingine nayo law zao zinasemaje na ile ingine.
I don't think Omse vile najua Wodemaya, I don't think he spends more than a month in any country in the world. And a month I'm putting it on the higher side. Otherwise uni msewa 4 days. I don't think una inchi yeo ishi more than 4 days. Anarukanga tu. He's always traveling. So he's never at any place for that amount of time.
It's also at a cost.
Yeah, it's at a cost, but now for him he makes so much money.
Yeah.
Akifanya hivyo. So that like imagine kama kustari expense zake and hizo flights. Yeah, it's
like
interesting.
a tax residency.
Yeah.
Like kuna what able to just tell us everything about is it ziko mingi. Cause ile si tunajua ninatufinya sana ni black tax. Niyo black tax sijuka haiko kwa law.
Hiyo inafaa kwa tax deductible.
Cause I was also thinking
Juni monthly.
Exactly,
Expense.
Men between the ages of 40 na 60 tupatiwe some tax liwe cause kuna taxes mingi tunalipa.
Watikio patriarchy yako ati men. Sio ni kila mtu.
Nilikuwa nangojea tu amalize sentence.
Najua nataka kuniatake but men between 40 and 60 kuna mingi sana. Unajua kama mwafa hapa maybe kuna 3 or 4 families zile
that he's
raising ameshikunile
Usoni chomea sana.
na kuna zile tatu zile huko. So shouldn't we be able to be given at least
not just men first of all. Not just men first of all.
Yes.
Even women, we have financial responsibilities and black tax.
Yeah, I know, but unajua for men it's a bit more. So kunizo the 3 other using Moaf as an example.
Okay, with his 3 families.
There are 4 families.
4.
Now there one, and then there's the 3 others. So every month kuna kodi. So lazima agawe hii nenda huku. Find men wanafinyiliwa sana at that age.
You know, the law has provided for that. That argument you're making was made years ago.
Yeah.
And they gave 2,400 per month as personal relief for individuals. But that's
So
2,400. Taumbili na 400.
Okay. Hiyo hata ilipi
Ugawanisha
stima hiyo
with your
nyumba
4
ingine.
families.
So kila family so sita.
So sita.
Ni kama.
Damn. Okay. Yo. Kuna lo zingine zilumekiwagwa tu afadhali hata
Ndio watu wanyamaze.
Watu tutufili kama
tumefanya kitu.
Tufili kama tunasaidiwa.
Because hiyo ni zilo namba tu afadhali.
But there's what industries or what industries can somebody invest in to ensure that they get good tax incentives? Unajua.
So manufacturing has good ones, but you know also manufacturing is capital intensive. So hapo labda kuna investors, shareholders, people who've pulled resources. But manufacturing,
politician.
Manufacturing has some good tax incentives. There's also the International Financial Reporting Board of Nairobi. So if you are in that one also, they normally give incentives like you only pay 15% taxes when you're a member. You only pay 15% as other people are paying 30%. And then, of course, there's the special economic zones, which are specific zones that are set up. There's one in Athi River. There's another one what's the name of this city?
Konza.
I don't know if it's Konza. Not Tatu Konza. Maybe perhaps Konza. I'm confusing them.
Yes.
So in those special economic zones, you pay 10% the first year, and then the second year you pay 15%, the third year 20%. There's a setup whereby your taxes are less. So there are zones as well. Industries, manufacturing is the one I'd vouch for because there's a lot of capital assets that can reduce your taxes.
Okay, alafu pia niko na cheki hapo ati KRA applies the substance of a form principle, yes? So ilikuwa na kitu fulani where I was reading that if a contract says consultant, KRA may deem the individual an employee if the employer exercises significant control, provides tools, and the individual works exclusively for them. Sidio?
Yes.
So alafu ikiendelea like many startups prefer consultancy contracts to avoid the 30% payee and statutory levies. So when does this become a ticking time bomb for the employer?
The employer, tumweke kando kwanza tuanze na the real victim, who is
Yes.
the consultant.
Yes.
So you told us we'll put your contract to read consultant, you'll only be paying 5% taxes, and you're very happy. You're looking at your 100,000 per month and you're like, they'll only deduct me 5,000, I'll have a whole 95 as compared to this other one where I get 72 net. So unbeknownst to you, ikifika at the end of the year when you're calculating your taxes due, you'll find that 5%, that 5K was only a tax credit. You still have to now pay 30% and deduct that tax credit. So that information gap has been there for years, and with the onset of digitization of taxation, our watu wote wamejikuta in a lot of trouble where you're called and told you owe like 6 million worth of taxes over the past 5 years, and you truly, honestly do not have that. Then we move on to the employer. When the employer has hired someone, and this someone takes on the substance of an employee, meaning if they need resources, they need a laptop, you're the one who gives them. You're the one who decides whether they are working in the office, they are sitting there, or they are sitting there, or they are sitting there.
Yeah.
You're the one who decides what they are doing. They report to you, the employer. So this person is also just working for one person, for that employer. They don't have clients where they work for several people, which is the setup of a contractor. But yet their contract reads consultant or independent contractor. So that one will be assumed to be an employee, backdated to the time they started operating as a consultant. The applicable taxes of pay-as-you-earn will be imposed, and the employer is the one that will pay, because it is the employer who accepted the wrong classification, leading to loss of tax revenue collected.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting, man. Damn. Yeah. So, alafu, kuna anything that KRA use could determine if someone is an employee or a consultant? Is there anything that they use?
Yeah. They use, I normally summarize it into 3. What they use time, place, and space.
Okay.
So, or where, how, and when. So if the employer controls your where you work, or the place, the employer controls when, what time do you report to work, to what time. Consultants can even work for 2 hours a day, and they've finished all their work. But an employee, lazima clock in pale 8, na utoke 5. So that's when. And then now, where, when, and then how. You can't do your own things there. Kuna boss, ana report kwa boss, na ana report kwa boss. But if you're an independent consultant, you come and you do your work, you decide tutafanya hivi na hivi na hivi, and you do what you have decided. So and then also the exclusivity. The fact that I work for one person and one person only from 8 to 5 daily. If I want fare, I ask them. If I want a laptop, it is them. Ikivunjika, namrudishia, namwambia sasa siwezi fanya kazi, sina. So that is primarily who an employee is as defined by the law.
Okay.
Those are the metrics.
Now from the individual's perspective, tax advantages of either being a consultant or a full-time employee, which one do you think has more advantages now from the individual's point?
I've been handling that a lot lately, Mwafrika, and it's really disadvantageous to be classified as a contractor when you are an employee.
Okay.
Because you see, let's say you go to the field, let's say you're an engineer, and mostly it happens to these niche professions. Let's say you're an engineer, you go to the field, unatumia gari ya kampuni, ukifika hapo tools umepewa na kampuni. So you literally have no expenses to claim other than your fuel to work. And even that fuel you've been given gari ya kampuni. The company is claiming all these expenses on its own PIN and its own identity. You're given everything. So you have nothing to deduct your taxes with.
Oh, so like
you end up paying
lazima
an
upatie.
entire 30%, of which an employee is not paying 30%. An employee does not pay 30% because for them, NSSF, which is pesa ya uzee, is deducted. SHIF is deducted, which they can use in hospital with their family. And then housing levy is the one that komsi komsa. But now SHIF and NSSF, those are benefits of employment that are deducted before that money is taxed. And you remember NSSF is also matched by the employer. So if you're deducted 5,000 as an employee, your employer takes 5,000 from their pocket, so you have 10K for your retirement benefit. Every month, free money 10K, free money 5K extra. But now, and then after that, you get, the taxes are computed on a scale of 10 to 35%. So you don't pay the flat rate of 30. There's the portion that is taxed at 10, there's the portion that is taxed at 25, then there's the portion that is taxed at 30, and then if you're earning beyond 500,000 per month, there's a portion that falls into 32.5. And like you, an independent contractor, where your entire chunk is taxed at 30 without having lost on NSSF, having lost on medical insurance. So it's really disadvantageous to be an employee who is termed as an independent contractor. In the short term, you're looking at, I'm only getting deducted 5% or 3%. But in the long term, at the end of the year, you have a big tax bill that you are not even prepared for. And you've lost benefits.
Yeah, so you're like interesting because if someone wants to be independent but still so naambia mtu mini employee wako but I'll dictate my own hours. Because remember, I think your kuitwa consultant comes with that freedom. The freedom of we don't have to see each other every day. Nacheki. So now ukiambia huyu mtu that nataka nipatie contract ya employee, so hiyo sasa niza kuanzishia za ovyo, niza kuambia na kunid hapa every day at 8 am. Kusikumbuka ingine as much as you're using their tools, you still have a certain level of independence. So is it damned if you do, damned if you don't type of whatever? You understand? Because you might get all these benefits, but now this person will have more control over you. So now you can have an employee contract that's it's very consultant, but it's still an employee. Like now it's in the wording,
You see, when you're an independent contractor or a consultant, according to what the substance of a consultant takes, ukona your own expenses. Maybe you even subcontract. You even have someone you hire to help you do some tasks.
Yeah.
And then the advantage is that you can even work for 4 or 5 other people. Or even 2 other people. So you will generate more money as you're incurring more expense. Yes. There's no employee who will give you their laptop for you to work for other people with. So you'll have to provide your own resources. Already now you have deductible expenses that now minimizes your whatever is deemed as 30%, which is your profit, which is the tax on profit.
Okay. You know, it makes sense.
Also on that line, talking about contractors and consultants, tuende industrial area. Mali watu wengi ni vibarua. So na kuna tactic sana watu wanatumia huko industrial area, mali mtu anachukuliwa kibarua for like 3 months. Alafu the 4th month achukuliwi 1 week. Anaambiwa kuna kazi. But wanajua after 1 week out anarudi tena anachapa another 3 months. Hivyo. Is that tax incentive for those companies that do that? They do that just to ensure that they don't pay taxes for the people they're employing?
So those companies are doing that because, you see, when you categorize someone as an employee, they're earning a monthly salary. But they want to restrict this watu wa kazi ya kila siku to be casual laborers, so that they pay them a wage. But you see, first of all, even according to how the law describes a casual worker, they say that a casual worker is someone who works for not more than 24 hours.
Yeah.
So when they go beyond 24 hours, now they've worked a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Primarily, if this case goes to court, this person is an employee. But for them, because it's a loophole that has not been followed through and enhanced heavily, this person still qualifies as a casual worker. Because you've deducted that 1 week, showing that they are not here every day. I only call them when there's work for them to do. For that casual worker, it's advantageous because they are not deducted at source. You know, for employment income, it's deducted at source before it hits your account. So then they get their full daily wage, kama ni sosita per day. It's calculated as sosita per day times the number of days, and they are paid. But then for the employer, they're also saving because they didn't have to match NSSF for them. They didn't have to match affordable housing levy for them. So that setup is win-win for both these two parties. Only that now the wage earner, there's a very high possibility that they will not declare their income and they will not pay taxes. But you find that most of them actually earn 24,000 and below. So they actually, even if they were to declare, there will be no taxes due on them. Yeah.
Okay. And so, because I was also thinking about, there's something that people are now talking about. Kunje, unajua wengine watasema nimekam kusnitch, because now people are talking now more about handling everything in cash rather than through M-Pesa or even the banking system, so that they avoid, being traced because of the new tax rules. Will there be any difference in that when mimi nikiambia mtu instead of paying me 100k utume kwa account ama M-Pesa nipatie cash? Will there be any difference? Will I be avoiding taxes, or will that just be a part of life, trying to get as much as I can from work that I do?
The beauty of cash is that it does not create a trail. And I'm not saying this to incite anyone, but cash does not create a trail. But how sustainable is being cash only in this economy? This is a digital economy. Most payments are cashless payments. At some point, you will log in certain levels of that money into the system. So when there is no trail, it even makes you more suspicious. Also, what about insecurity? Now that you have millions under your mattress, because you're trying to evade paying taxes of 30%, now you end up losing 100% of everything. So the sustainability of being cashless in this day and time, I do not see it. Unless you're a drug dealer. I don't see the sustainability. You need to now invest in security.
Nakumbuka hiyo nini majuzi wase, I think even there was a video being shared this week ya mse ali withdraw 420k na kafuatwa na gari mbaya kwa gate. I think saizi imefika level where you'd rather just think of the ways to minimize your taxes. But cash wasa wanacheza jo. I think thieves will be very happy if you decide like you're running a store na una handle, because unajua sababu vile amesema you lose 100%, like this is 100 and your time ulikuwa try to save, afadhali you lose 30% than 100. So I think tumenini sana, and I think it's about lack of like knowledge, where people don't know all these two loopholes, which are if I spend this yukayo nini ni bamba sana. Hiyo ingekuwa ni mimi ni mtu wa kutravel ningekuwa na make sure ni 182 days nata nikiruka TZ for one day alafu nirudi, as long as
let's say it's an annual average.
It's an annual, yes.
It's an annual average. So long as unaweza sema 2 months unaenda 1 month to, so long as the cumulative is 183.
So neza stay Kenya for 180 days alafu I just travel out niende the rest of the half of the year out, and
yes,
I'm good.
And that is so long as also so that was the first one, residency. But there's also where is the source of your income. So if your income is generated from within Kenya, so uko na rentals zako pale umesimamisha, hata utoke uende Japan for the 184 days hizo ziko huku zinalipiwa huku.
Alafu talking about that, there are certain countries that are known as tax havens. Kama kuna ile malule jamaa nani walienda kaficha
Cayman Islands ama gani?
Cayman Islands, kuna ingine sijui there are certain places. So you take money from Kenya and then you go and uifiche huko. How can we protect ourselves as Kenya to ensure that even if you stole it here and you taking it there, how can we at least KRA, because government departments work independently, how can they ensure they get their cut? Because also I remember there's a story about kuna jamaa alikuwa mali sijui ni Thika ama where. I don't want to mention his name to see chapwe na kalosu, but the guy during the previous regime alitoroka Kenya. He went to exile apparently because he was evading a lot of millions in taxes, but tena kidogo tumeona amerudi. How did we ensure that the taxes that he was evading at that time were paid, because we're in hundreds of millions? And how do we ensure that our money that is taken out, that is actually the taxes paid for, hata kama iliibiwa?
There's a system called CRS, Common Reporting Standards. So common reporting standards are international agreements that tax authorities of countries get into to curb whatever you're talking about, that sort of tax evasion that is cross-border. So how that happens is that John ndo huyo pale amefungua account huko Cayman Islands, although there are countries that are not in CRSs like Cayman Islands najua haiko. So if you've opened an account in another country or you've opened an investment account in another country, that authority, the investment bank is supposed to report that there's a Kenyan who has an investment in our country to the tax authority there. That's part of their reporting standards. That tax authority there should now reach out to KRA with the list of all the people who have invested in their country and are earning or have accounts there. So KRA eventually will get that sort of information for all the countries that are in the CRS. But now for the countries that are not, that is what you're calling tax havens. Or because the tax havens are basically countries that have conditions that enable easy evasion of taxes for one reason or another.
So, but me as a Kenyan, if I feel like my taxes are being stolen by others, especially our politicians, can I go and just open an account Caymans alafu pesa yangu iendage huko so that ni feel at least
you're an adult, you can go and open an account in Cayman Islands, but you see, if it's ever investigated and found, you know the reason why it's lucrative, it's because there's no proper channel of trailing to there, and there's no way that information will go through any CRS system in the tax havens. But if it happens that a whistleblower, you know, some people get a divorce and your spouse knows everything about you, they decide they will finish you, your ex-spouse. So they whistleblow you even to KRA, they whistleblow you to everyone who is concerned. So if that was the case, then your money will be taxed if it's proven to be there. But then you find that in most tax havens, even to get the information of people who have investments or assets here is impossible.
That's why watu wana hide. Si hapo ndio
na watu wengi wana hide.
That's how Kenyan ninis huaga
watu wa forex.
So Fiona, tukimalizia one piece of advice to a new business owner ule ana feel like KRA watamaliza, like how do they survive this new world ya KRA? Because I guess it's a new world. As soon as that Nini itoke last year, because now we are living in a new world.
It's a new dawn. My word of advice to that business person who is afraid of KRA, this is what I'd tell you. It is much cheaper to pay taxes that are calculated than to completely not pay a thing. It's much cheaper for you because once the penalties, because eventually the digitization of taxation is only developing. It will never go back to how it was kitambo tukifanya reja. So it is important that you start understanding taxes. It is 30% of your earnings. You start understanding how can I reduce this from the first day, set up structures that enable you to reduce it so that you only pay what you must.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one last question kabla Mofa wrap up ni your advice now to KRA, you as a consultant, so that people may not see them as coming with dark techniques and that thuggish approach. What can you advise them so that watu huku chini wote, the kanges, the boda riders, everybody comes now and appreciates and wants to pay their taxes? What can they do better to ensure that everybody is not captured the way they want, but everyone comes involved in the whole tax process?
This is what I'd tell KRA. First of all, I appreciate that you're playing a role that is necessary in the economy. Yes. Taxes must be paid for the country to run. We need the hospitals, the public schools, sanitation, and all that. It needs to all run as it should. Therefore, collection is important. But there's a disconnectedness or a mistrust between the taxpayer and the taxman. So the people do not trust you at all, especially the SMEs, who are the majority of the taxpayers, and even the wananchi wa kawaida. So there's need for, even, when you want to create a relationship with someone, even the way you speak to them matters. So there's need for, instead of threats, how about incentives? Instead of deadlines are a must, yes, but instead of no deadline or nothing, how about ability to talk over it and plan and restructure alternate methods of doing things that are custom made to that particular taxpayer who is trying to understand the tax terrain? I think that will build trust. I think that would enhance cooperation with the taxman, because currently as it stands, many taxpayers just feel threatened. Their bank deposits are not safe. It's just hazy and it's not stable. So then there's a need to enhance stability. Is what I'd say.
Okay. Alafu wase wakitaka kupata, mi nakuonaga mostly on TikTok. So where is Tax Insights? Ni TikTok peke yake ama ni?
Tax Insights is on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn.
So that's a newsletter.
It's a newsletter.
So then the TikTok version is not like a video version of Tax Insights?
It is, but it's raw. It's less jargon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's relatable to the regular Kenyan. So you can find me on TikTok, CPA Fiona Witaba, or on LinkedIn, CPA Fiona Witaba. Those are my main handles for now.
Okay. Yeah. So tunaweza sema, are you doing the Lord's work or are you doing Zakayo's work?
Not Zakayo's work.
Not Zakayo's work,
but I'm helping Zakayo actually. Zakayo should consider.
Tukimajuzi Ruto akisema, waliniita Zakayo, nilikufa.
But also what number given to Caesar.
Yes,
what
belongs to Caesar. Kitufani ni, ilikuwa nani, tukiwa na patience. She actually aliingia kwa hiyo story ya Caesar. Maka tukaanza
usaidia sana.
Tukaanza kuenjoy KRA ni Caesar in this point. You have to give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So asante, because unajua uchanwaga watu on how to stay your tax compliant and pia kusave. Because hakuna haja pia you overpay taxes. Because of course gava, ana 100 shillings wambie gava ichukue 70 bob, itakata, najua. Haiwezi kata. So you can't blame the government for your own ignorance. So imekuwa ni episode 622, yes?
Yep.
So imekuwa ni story na taxes, alafu pia maybe the last thing tunaenda kuambia say ni file as early as possible. Sindio, usingoje June 28th.
Yeah.
Computers
June 30th.
Watu wanzaga June 28th.
Hata 25th.
Zinaanza kuhang. So file as soon as possible, especially if you're a business person, so that anything that una need kujitetee ujitetee mapema. Alafu tubaki tumechekniaje jo. And so vile si umaliziaga, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend. Lipa ushuru. Eko nene.
Eko Nini.